Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call. Well, we've been telling you there are a lot of negatives that we're waking up to this morning, but the Nifty has been an outperformer. Even in the month of September, we were up 2%. The US markets were down 3 to around 5%. So we'll have to put in a good fight today to, hold on to that outperformance going by the GIFT Nifty rates. But let's talk about individual stocks. Deven Choksey, director at KRChoksey Finance, joins us on the show. Hi, Deven. Good morning. Good to see you in. Deven, the screen is looking a little bit muddled, but a couple of stocks could do well. And Bajaj Finance, they came out with their operational update, which looked pretty good, and they're looking to raise some money as well. How would you approach the stock from these levels?
Good morning, Nigel. Obviously, I think on one side, you are seeing a good amount of consumer demand into the country, and various businesses are confirming that. Other day, we saw the auto numbers. That is also, I think, remaining quite robust. I think probably highest ever numbers that one has seen in this month of September. And at the same time, I think other consumer companies are also suggesting that they are having a very strong demand situation in the marketplace. Bajaj Finance being a retail lending company, they have integrated themselves into different product verticals and also, I think, with different retailers. They are finding themselves in a relatively stronger position because of the stronger uptake in the marketplace as far as the consumer products demand is concerned. Not very surprising that this company is recording just growth, which is basically the main forte of this company of 30% plus kind of a CAGR growth that they are continuing with. I would think that given the position that they are taking about strengthening the balance sheet by way of adding further amount of money into the kitty, in the second half of the financial year, the company should be reasonably doing well with higher demand scenario emerging very, very strong. So from that perspective, I think the company looks pretty interesting, including some of the retail credit franchises of the corporate banks. They too look quite interesting. I think they are equally positioned well as far as I think growth is concerned, due to the credit growth is concerned in the economy. And I would think that banking sector should outshine this particular quarterly result among the lot of other sectors, where we believe that I think this is an opportunity for some of the companies which are right now corrected due to the price correction in the market. There would be an opportunity to buy into these companies for at least a good rally post this correction, which we are anticipating somewhere in November this year.
Okay. Deven, hi, good morning and thanks for joining in. I wanted your thoughts on what one should be doing with Avenue Supermarts because, the numbers were not bad. I mean, in Q2, they saw a revenue growth of almost 19%, but the stock just refuses to perform. In fact, this year, it's down almost 9% in what has been a rocking market. Do you see, that story changing?
So, good morning, Sonia. Obviously, I think the business condition remains pretty strong for most of the retail companies, including the Avenue Supermarket, Reliance Retail. And they are suggesting that the growth is going to continue even in the subsequent quarters in this financial year. So there is no question asked on that aspect. However, investors are not finding these particular valuations so comfortable in the current market. And as a result of it, the preference is going to those companies where the valuations have not participated, or the companies have not participated, and I think the valuations have remained relatively lower. So I would think that currently the focus remains with those companies where the opportunity is big, and probably I think investors are shifting money into those pockets. Some of the mid-cap, small-cap companies, including in IT space, they remain relatively more favorite compared to expensive stocks in the retail segment, where probably the upside is seen limited. Nothing wrong with the business, but upside is seen limited because of the stronger valuation that they are commanding currently. So I would think that it's a natural course. Probably I think we'll see some kind of a time correction first, and thereafter I think the participation of the investors coming back into the retail sector in the likes of Avenue Supermarket.
Deven, hi, morning. Any thoughts on Vedanta? It was ended about 4% higher. We spoke with the management, Mr. Agarwal, yesterday. What would you do with it, if anything at all?
Yes, Prashant, good morning. Well, I think one good thing which has happened is that they have created the possibility for solving some of the problems that the group is facing. On one side, you see around 30% plus kind of a capital employed in the businesses like steel and iron ore, in the businesses like power generation business. and also in the base metal business, where the amount of capital employed is about 30% of the total gross capital employed into the business. And on the other side, I think these businesses are not contributing enough as far as I think the EBITDA is concerned. Today, you find that Hindustan Zinc and aluminum businesses are contributing more than 80% to the EBITDA of the group. So obviously, I think the choice will be made at some point of time to knock out those businesses which are not probably contributing enough and at the same time occupying higher amount of capital, which would be possibly released so in order to, I think, settle the debt issues at the group level. So in a way, I think this particular transaction which has been planned, according to me, I think is a transaction which should have been planned much earlier, but it's better net than never. I think that is how I would summarize it. Maybe I think we'll have to see more about execution on this particular transaction. And as we heard the management yesterday, they probably want to see the steel business going off the block or maybe I think monetize faster compared to others. So let us see how it goes. But I think to me, this is possibly opening up the possibility also of expanding the other businesses which are right now consuming cash, but this cash is being fed to sustain other businesses which are consuming higher capital. So in my viewpoint, I think it should result into better outlook for the group as a whole eventually.
Okay.
Well, Deven is still with us. Deven, thanks for waiting. I think we're approaching the pre-open session in another, 7 odd minutes or so. Just wondered your thoughts. I don't know if you have coverage or if you've looked at PSU banks like Bank of Maharashtra recently, Deven. Yeah, the pre-quarterly update just came through, super strong. They cleaned up big time earlier. The stock's done well. It's actually doubled over the last 1.5 years or so. Any thoughts?
Yes, Prasanth, we do have soft coverage on PSU banks, and we feel that I think having corrected their balance sheets, most of the mid and smaller PSU banks are equally, I think, well positioned in the given situation. However, I think the bigger challenge ahead would be how fast they would be able to expand the size of the balance sheet. That is going to be, I think, a bigger challenge because on one side you require a larger amount or the bigger amount of money, I think, for the growth that is being produced in the economy. And the bank's prime raw material is always money. So I think obviously they will have to further capitalize themselves. In case they do not, then possibly or they fail to capitalize in time, then it possibly, I think you will be missing out the bus that would probably take up the larger market share. And that is the only worry that I'm having. Otherwise, all of the equations are working favorable. The balance sheets are clean. The liability side is remaining relatively strong compared to what it was before. At the same time, I think they are protecting the needs, and most importantly, I think they are expanding the business into the MSME space as well. So all of these equations are working positive, except the fact that I think one will have to capitalize the business faster in order to get larger amount of funds. So that is one area which one will have to look out for.
All right, Deven, thank you for your patience and your thoughts here on the channel. Appreciate it.